This is the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 4th generation. It's a 2-in 2-out audio interface that costs around $200. And this is the Arturia Minifuse 2, also a 2-in 2-out interface that costs around $150. Which one should you buy? Both the Scarlett 2i2 and Minifuse 2 feature metal bodies with plastic face and backplates. Both are pretty hefty and feel like they are built to last. The Arturia Minifuse 2 features 2 combo inputs on the front of the interface. Each input can accept either a mic or a lined instrument and has its own backlit gain knob that responds to your input, turning red when the signal is too high. Each input also has a button that allows you to switch between line and instrument levels for a clear, consistent signal. The 4th gen Scarlett 2i2 features 2 high-Z instrument inputs on the front of the interface and 2 separate XLR inputs on the back. This new approach to input placement has certainly been quite divisive. Personally, it doesn't bother me too much as I tend to keep the same microphones plugged in at all times. But if you constantly need to attach and detach different microphones, you may find this a wee bit more annoying. The Minifuse 2 has a real-time colour-coded VU meter. This is an output meter only, but it's definitely handy to have a visual representation of your outputted volume on the interface itself. As I mentioned previously, it also features backlit gain knobs that respond to your input. Focusrite updated the Scarlett 2i2's iconic gain halos in the 4th generation refresh, which now fill up to show the level of the incoming signal. This shows green or orange like a standard audio meter to clearly show varying input levels, which is a nice touch. The output knob also has this feature so you can clearly see and adjust your output levels. Both the Minifuse 2 and Scarlett 2i2 have big chunky output knobs and headphone outs with independent output controls. Both interfaces feature universal direct monitoring, though only the Minifuse 2 allows you to control how much of the direct and process signal you'll hear via this dial. Both of these interfaces connect to your device of choice via a USB-C output, with the Scarlett 2i2 also featuring an external 5V DC USB-C power input on the back, plus 2 1/4-inch TRS inputs that you can connect your studio monitors to. The back of the Minifuse 2 is a bit more interesting. You have 2 1/4-inch TRS balanced line outputs here for your studio monitors. Next to those, and a rarity at this price point, you'll find one 5-pin MIDI input and one 5-pin MIDI output. Next to that, you have an extra USB port. That's right, a USB port on the back of an audio interface. That isn't something you really see at this price point, really, and I think it's a hugely useful feature. Specs-wise, there's not a whole lot between these two audio interfaces, really. I'll pop standout specs for both on screen now, and you can find full specifications on the web pages for those models. I'll link to those below. Focusrite reworked the preamps in these new 4th gen models, and they now provide 69 decibels of gain, which is enough to run low output mics like this Rode Procaster or the ubiquitous SM7B without a cloud lifter. The Arturia Minifuse 2 provides up to 56 decibels of gain, so it can just about run a microphone like this without any external hardware, though you may be pushing things a bit. The preamps on both of these models are so good that you really don't need to worry about introducing any additional noise to your recordings, even when cranking the input gain right up. The Scarlett 2i2 4th gen comes loaded with loads of useful features, like auto gain, which will set your gain to the optimum level automatically for you, clip safe, which automatically adjusts your gain levels when active to avoid clipping, and Air Mode, which adds one of two different presets, which mimic the sound of Focusrite's classic analog preamps. The Arturia Minifuse 2 doesn't have any of that, which may or may not matter to you, depending what you want to get out of your audio interface. The Arturia Minifuse 2 absolutely spanks the Scarlett when it comes to latency, however. With the buffer size set to 32, the Scarlett 2i2 has 16 milliseconds round-trip latency, whereas the Minifuse 2 has 7.9 milliseconds. That is quite astonishingly swift for a sub-$200 audio interface. If you intend to use one of these interfaces for live streaming, both of them come with loopback functionality, and they both come with a whole host of free software too. The Scarlett 2i2 comes with light versions of Ableton and Pro Tools, plus you can grab free plugins from Antares, Softube, Addictive Drums, Native Instruments, Focusrite themselves, and 2 months free use of Lander's online mastering service. The Arturia Minifuse 2 comes with Ableton Live Lights and Analog Lab Intro, which allows you to play around with hundreds of great sounding presets ripped straight from the full-fat version of this great plugin. You also get access to 4 actually useful effects plugins, the light version of Native Instruments Guitar Rig 6, and a 3-month subscription to Auto-Tune Unlimited and Splice's sample library. Alright, here are the sound demos. Some spoken word demos first, with some acoustic guitar afterwards. All were recorded using a Rode NT1 Signature Series condenser microphone, and there's been no post-processing added to anything apart from maybe a wee bit of gain. Some humans would do anything to see if it was possible to do it. If you put a large switch in some cave somewhere with a sign on it saying, "End of the world switch, please do not touch," the paint wouldn't even have time to dry. Some humans would do anything to see if it was possible to do it. If you put a large switch in some cave somewhere with a sign on it saying, "End of the world switch, please do not touch," the paint wouldn't even have time to dry. So, which of these two audio interfaces is the best? On the face of it, the 4th generation Scarlett 2i2 could easily be the clear winner here. Killer design, excellent preamps, and great features. If you're just getting started with music production and don't feel all that confident when it comes to things like setting gain levels, or if you're the type of musician who just likes to whip out your interface, plug in and get recording, then there is a lot to like here. Also, if you make music on an iOS device, specifically one with a lightning connection, the external power option on the 2i2 makes it a very enticing option. The Minifuse 2 does all the basic stuff you'd expect an audio interface at this price point to do, but its unique design and input and output features are what really make it stand out. No, you're not getting any extra recording modes or automatic setup features here, but the inclusion of things like an onboard USB port, MIDI in and outs, and that super quick round-trip latency make this one of the most versatile and flexible audio interfaces on the market, especially if you're a big synth user. Really tough one to call this, so I'm going to chicken out completely and leave it up to you to let me know which one you think is best down in the comments. If you could give that like button a good hard slap on the way past, I'd really appreciate it too. And if you want to see how the Focusrite Scarlett stacks up against another fancy pants audio interface, watch this next.